Well, I'll let everybody else deal with, everything that happened before the United States because, really, let's be honest, the United States is what matters most. The colonies for the United States, or the colonies prior to the United States, were founded in the early 17th century. You have Jamestown in Virginia, you have Massachusetts Bay and Plymouth colonies in Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, all fit in there somewhere. Blah blah blah. That moves us up to the American Revolution. The colonies were angry at the British because they had started paying increased attention to the colonies, demanding taxation, and monies be paid for colonial defense and things like that. So the colonies, in the end, decided to break away and declare their independence. That's the whole July 4th, 1776 thing. Long story short, we defeated the British at Yorktown. That's right, Woodcock. The United States became the United States. Let's see, after that, yada yada yada, wrote the Constitution in 1787 after our first government, the Articles of Confederation, failed. Constitution seems to be working out. Bill of Rights, first 10 amendments, did that in 1789. Then there was a whole bunch of period of history that nobody enjoys learning about. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Jackson. We get ourselves up into causes the Civil War. Slavery was obviously a huge problem in the United States. In the 1830s, the abolitionist movement really gets seriously started. We get up into the 1850s, where basically every issue in the United States turns into something about slavery. So we end up fighting the Civil War. Southern states secede. 4 of them stayed with the Union. The Union was victorious in 1865. We went through a 12-year period of Reconstruction, where we attempted to bring the former Confederate states back into the Union, which was semi-successful and somewhat unsuccessful as well. We passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which ended slavery, guaranteed black citizenship, and the right to vote. We entered into kind of a dead period of American history where you have the formation of unions, corporations, the railroad becomes very popular, the U.S. economy becomes much stronger. We get up into the 20th century, which some historians will argue is the American century because of our outsized influence on the 20th century. It was a period of great American invention and things of that nature. The light bulb, the telephone, the car, the car for the regular consumer, all that kind of stuff. We have the progressive movement where we push for increased rights for basically everybody. Women get the right to vote. We have increased consumer safety. Unions start to do better. All that kind of stuff. We get up to World War I, which we were not initially involved in, but we get kind of dragged in. We are victorious there. The end of World War I, the Treaty of Versailles, pretty much causes the beginning of World War II because of the punishments laid out towards the Germans. We fight World War II. Again, we're not an initial participant. Pearl Harbor, we get involved against the Japanese and then later the Germans. We won that one too. Then we entered into the Cold War against the only other superpower in the world, which was the Soviet Union. So we have all kinds of interesting events. We have the Korean War, we have Sputnik, we have the Cuban Missile Crisis, we have the Bay of Pigs, which was actually before the Cuban Missile Crisis. We have the Vietnam War, which up until the war in Afghanistan was the longest war in U.S. history, which we lost. We have the Civil Rights Movement, we have the Feminist Movement, we have the Environmental Movement in the 1950s and the 1960s. When we get into the 1970s, U.S. economy starts to stagnate. We start to kind of lose our preeminent position in the world. We get into the 1980s, we become much more, we have the Reagan Revolution, we become a little bit more conservative politically. The Cold War ends, the Soviet Union breaks up, and then, we have the whole 9/11 thing, that's not good. And that pretty much, we elected Obama in 2008, that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you.